Hello everyone, and thanks very much for the support with my videos. I'm very grateful, and also thanks to everybody who has kindly supported my campaign to get elected to Dublin Bay South through my GoFundMe, and links will be in the comments at the end of this video. Today I want to speak about the immigration chaos and a couple of specific elements of the immigration chaos in terms of the cheap labour that the big bosses benefit from. And of course this is a huge factor of this globalisation policies that are being foisted upon Ireland because of our political establishment that are more interested in bowing down to their interests of their masters in Brussels rather than serving the interests of the people here domestically and nationally in Ireland, which is critically important to any politician serving the people of Ireland. But in the facet that I want to speak about today is about the real elements of the growing population. Micheál Martin spoke today about the growing population in Ireland, and he said it's a positive thing. Now, of course, Micheál Martin would say that because he is benefiting his rich benefactors from this, the big employers, the commercial property owners, the big accommodation providers that are making huge profits from this industry. But also, apart from that, there is a huge facet to it that has been not spoken about. He spoke in this interview today to Pat Kenny about Apple, to say 60% of the Apple staff in Cork are Irish, 20% are EU citizens, and 20% are outside the EU. And he said he wants to work to an agenda to invite more people from within the EU and outside the EU specifically to come to Ireland. Now, I spoke in a previous video around the issues of the Kenyan trip by Micheál Martin in the summer of this year, where subsequent to that we've heard the information that there is a big push to get Kenyan nurses to come to Ireland as well. This is at the same time when so many of our highly trained and highly qualified nurses are emigrating to far-flung countries like Australia, the Middle East also as well. And one facet he spoke about was the work permit system. Now, this is very important. He said it's about full employment, and there are challenges of full employment. But of course, Ireland is a low-wage economy. 1 in 5 workers are on low pay. Today we've heard reports about the rental chaos in terms of the sky-high rents that people are paying in Ireland, specifically here in Dublin Bay South, where 50% of the population rent, and will never entertain the prospect of having a secure home, let alone being able to afford a home they call their own. Now, Martin has said he wants a fast-tracked permit system, an employment permit system that is more fast-tracked and streamlined and more flexible. This is very interesting coming from Martin, because again he's looking at the elements of the labour market, and he said that he wants to expand the processing in the work permit scheme to include roles such as in retail, hospitality, construction and care work. Now, isn't this revealing when so many of our population are being forced to head away and emigrate at record levels not seen for many, many decades? And at the same time, Micheál Martin is pushing this agenda to bow down to his big employers. Now, the population of Ireland currently is about 5.38 million according to CSO figures. The population has increased, as we know, over the last couple of years, and specifically from the war in Ukraine and the huge amount of people from Ukraine that have come here as well, which is again has put pressure on overstretched resources, and also an under-resourced resources rather as well. And also we've seen net migration increase, where in the last year, according to census figures up to April 2024, 79,000 people has been the figure of net migration. So about 70,000 people emigrated from Ireland, and 149,200 came in to Ireland. So while you've seen an exponential increase in people coming into Ireland the last couple of years, and as I said specifically in terms of net migration, we've seen a huge amount of people coming in on work permit and student visas, which isn't being remarked upon whatsoever. And a lot of the people that work on student visas are then working in low pay work, in terms of, we've seen companies like Deliveroo, for instance. You go around the city, you see so many people from various countries working as Deliveroo workers. Deliveroo, of course, are a multinational owned in a big part by Amazon, famous for Jeff Bezos. We all remember the huge transfer of wealth towards the billionaire class in society as well, and so many are working there in exploitative labour, and that's critically important, because a lot of the low pay, low wage, poor conditions are being driven down deliberately through this globalisation policy and the neoliberal agenda of the European Union, and Micheál Martin is completely subservient to. And it is critically important to note with this that in September 2024, new legislation came into play in Ireland as well regarding the new efficiency in the permit system and a flexible approach to the changing needs of the labour market. And they would do what they call a labour market needs test. This is when they look at the labour market, see where they need employees or cheap labour, and they go and search for them. And that's what the immigration chaos is being used for. Of course, apart from the IPAS system and apart from the Ukrainian war in terms of the huge explosion in population, we've seen the work permit scheme being used for this also as well. And what's fascinating about this and very revealing is around the agencies that are going to work on this basis as well. He's now opened the door, and this government, who are now talking about getting tough on immigration, are the ones that are opening the door to bow down to their masters in Europe. And also through the legislation of this that was passed a number of months ago, it's about opening the door to agencies to make profits from this as well. Talk about working, pushing down workers' rights and conditions. And where's the trade union movement in Ireland speaking about this? They've been completely silent on these issues of driving down wages and conditions, which is the same as the so-called opposition, and also open the doors to subcontractors to exploit people also as well. So again, the opposition have shown their true colours in Ireland by not even speaking out about this. So essentially what we have in Ireland is a uniparty, and we need a radical shift in Irish society to expose what's going on, to stand up for the interests of ordinary people and not put up with this globalist agenda anymore that serves the big corporations and serves the interests of the super wealthy and rich. And that's what Micheál Martin's doing. While he's gone around the country high-fiving everybody, pulling points, dancing the jive, running 100 metres, and all this nonsense to distract from the policies that he's pushing down everybody's wages and conditions in our society. And this is what the immigration chaos is being used for. And as you can see, all these avenues being opened by the multimillionaires that are going to keep profiting from it unless we stand up and speak out and tell the truth to what's going on and what the immigration industry is fundamentally all about. Driving down wages, driving down conditions for ordinary people, while enforcing people to emigrate. Not to mention we have the huge chaos and pressure on public and social services. We see the housing chaos, we see the health chaos, we see the lack of GPs, lack of school places. But of course Martin will say we're moving forward together, and Harris will say a new energy. It's a complete ruse, a complete con job, complete public relations spin that nobody should fall for. And this is the reality to what's gone on. They've passed the legislation, they're pushing through on the EU Migration Pact. And even the Green Party have spoken about people coming into the country, and so many more inviting their families and friends in as well, subsequent to this as well. So this is what it's all about. It's not about integration or being inclusive or diversity. It's fundamentally about using cheap labour to drive down pay and conditions of ordinary people. Currently in Ireland, 1 in 5 children live in deprivation, and if you consider the reality to what's going on in terms of cost of living disaster, a few crumbs are being thrown by the government at ordinary people. Of course, some might fall for it, but more are waking up to really what's going on. So thanks for the support of my videos, really appreciate it, and please share my videos to anybody you know in Dublin Bay South. Get this message out far and wide, and also on top of that, please get them to share my videos, share my posts, subscribe to my page on my YouTube channel, follow me on different channels also as well. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, X, and different platforms also as well, and I'm very grateful. And most importantly, get everybody out November 29th, vote 1 for Peter Dooley, Dublin Bay South, who's going to stand up for the interests of the ordinary people, stand up for the interests of ordinary working people in Dublin Bay South, and stand up for the interests of the people here in Ireland. So take care. Thanks for all the support. Slán. Bye bye.